Good morning and welcome to Live Without Limits. Transform your thinking to redesign your life. I'm your host, Davida Shensky, and today we're diving into a topic that affects many people, often without them realizing it: emotional flashbacks. And today's title is Trapped in the Past: Understanding Emotional Flashbacks and the Hidden Triggers. Have you ever suddenly felt overwhelmed with sadness, fear, or shame, and you couldn't quite figure out why? Maybe someone's tone of voice, maybe you feel small, maybe a moment of rejection felt devastating, far beyond what seemed reasonable. That's the power of an emotional flashback. When your body and your emotions react to the past as if it's happening right now. Today, we're going to uncover what emotional flashbacks really are, the hidden cause behind them, how to recognize when you're experiencing one, and how to start healing so that you can feel grounded, safe, and in control again. Because understanding your emotions and where they come from is one of the most powerful steps toward personal success and emotional freedom. So, what are emotional flashbacks? What exactly is an emotional flashback? Unlike visual flashbacks, where you might see or relive a traumatic memory, emotional flashbacks are about feeling the past, not seeing it. They're sudden, intense emotional states: fear, shame, anger, or sadness that seems to come out of nowhere. They're not logical, and they often don't match the present situation. Here's an example. Let's say someone cancels plans with you and you instantly feel abandoned or rejected. Or maybe a coworker criticizes your work and you feel like a child being scolded again. That's an emotional flashback. Your body reacting to an old wound that hasn't fully healed. What makes them experiences so confusing is that they feel so real. You're not thinking about the past, but your nervous system is reliving it. It's like your emotional brain, that part that remembers the pain, gets triggered before your logical mind even catches up. And let me give you something to think about. But first, before I get into some real life examples of emotional flashbacks, I want to say this. For many people, especially those who experience childhood emotional neglect, inconsistency, or trauma, these flashbacks can be part of your daily life. But don't worry, they're not permanent. Once you start to recognize what's happening, you gain the power to change that response. We are now currently, and we just had Thanksgiving, and we're going into the Christmas season. And this is a time when you're going to see many emotional flashbacks come up, especially when you see families who get together and give gifts or spend time together. So you might be wondering, what does the actually look like in everyday life? Well, emotional flashbacks aren't always dramatic. They often show up in subtle, familiar ways that we don't even realize we're connected to the past. So let me give you a few examples that might sound familiar. Sometimes a friend cancels plans, or you suddenly feel a deep sense of rejection, almost like you're invisible and not important. Logically, you know they just got busy, but emotionally, it feels like being left out all over again. That's not about today's event. That's about your nervous system remembering what it felt like to be forgotten or dismissed as a child. Now, let me give you some of what my personal experiences are. Growing up during an era when society didn't recognize its disability community as existing, and being the only person in the schools and in the class with a disability, and my peers not understanding it, I was isolated. I was treated as though I didn't exist, or I was teased because I was different. And there are times when I'm alone or I don't have anyone to spend Thanksgiving with or a holiday with, that yes, I feel a sadness because it does bring up those old experiences. But I have moved on. I have made a life for myself. And it's just something that I feel at that moment or for a little while. And then I get busy doing something and it just passes by. So you can't think clearly, your heart races, and you just want that moment to end. It's not that you're weak, it's that your body is flashing back to a time when anger felt unsafe. Another common one is feeling guilty for saying no. You tell someone you can't help, and within seconds, you feel like you've done something wrong. You might even apologize or change your mind just to avoid the discomfort. That's learned survival response. Your young self equating no with punishment or rejection. And then there's the sting from even the smallest bit of criticism. A partner, a friend, or a coworker gives you feedback, and suddenly shame rushes in. You start doubting yourself or feel like you failed completely. What's really happening is that your brain is associating criticism with being unworthy of love or approval, and something that often starts in childhood. Some people experience flashbacks as withdrawal. In a heated conversation, they shut down completely. And because they don't care, but because their system is protecting them from emotional overwhelm, they're reliving moments when speaking up wasn't safe. So their instinct is to go silent or disappear. And then there are the quiet moments, those times when a song, a smell, or a familiar tone of voice brings up sudden tears or sadness, and you can't explain why. That's your body remembering emotional pain your mind may have long buried. So if you notice these patterns in yourself, take a deep breath and remind yourself this isn't me being overreactive. It's my body remembering what it's like to be hurt. That small act of awareness is incredibly powerful. It's the first step toward separating the past from the present and toward creating emotional safety within yourself. Because the truth is, every emotional flashback in your inner child's way of saying, please see me, please comfort me. And when you start to do that, when you meet that pain with compassion instead of shame, that's when the real healing begins. Let's look deeper at the why emotional flashbacks happen. They often stem from childhood emotional neglect or abuse. When you grow up in an environment where your feelings weren't validated, where you had to hide sadness or fear, your brain learns that expressing emotion isn't safe. Now, I grew up in a home where I had a mother that was constantly telling you what you couldn't do. And I was the one that often got the blame for anything that went wrong simply because my younger sister learned she could get away with abusing her sisters and not get blamed for it. And therefore, she constantly did it. And, and then because I was the independent one who did not allow them to try to control me, I ended up being the one that was blamed for everything. And I can understand why I react certain ways and in certain situations. And I also learned many years ago the best thing for me was to stay away from those people who triggered those emotions. So instead, it stores those emotions. And later in life, when someone reminds you, even unconsciously, of those moments, your body goes into defense mode. You might also experience emotional flashbacks as part of a complex trauma, or what's known as CPTSD. Unlike a single traumatic event, complex trauma comes from repeated experiences like rejection, criticism, control, or abandonment that slowly shape how you see yourself and the world. In these moments, your nervous system doesn't know the danger is over. It still believes that you need to protect yourself, and that's what triggers a flashback. Common triggers can include someone raising their voice, being ignored, feeling out of control, facing rejection, or even being in a situation where you can't speak up for yourself. What's really happening is that your brain, specifically your amygdala, is sounding the alarm, saying that you're not safe. Understanding that this is your body trying to protect you is key. It's not weakness, it's a survival response that once kept you safe. Now it just needs to learn that the present moment is different. When an emotional flashback is triggered, your body isn't trying to hurt you. It's actually trying to protect you. Think of it this way. Your nervous system learned how to keep you safe a long time ago. Maybe you grew up in an unpredictable home or around people who dismissed your feelings. Your brain remembered that certain tones of voice, facial expressions, or moments of silence meant danger. And let me give you an example of something that can create that. I can remember many, many years ago as a young child, I was often teased and made fun of just because I was different. And I would go in my room and cry. And my mother would come in and she'd say, "Why are you crying? You have no reason to cry." And what that's doing is that's denying your right to feel hurt. And all what I really needed from her, which she was incapable of giving, was a hug and to tell me that she loved me. And if you don't get that, then it just keeps reminding you of those situations, especially when you experience something similar, even though you understand the difference, and even though it just brings back those flashbacks. That's because your amygdala, that part of the brain that's responsible for detecting danger, jumps into action before your logical brain can step in for the emotional alarm system. And once it goes off, it sends your body into survival mode. You might notice your heart start to race, your chest tighten, or your stomach drop. Your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles tense, and your thoughts start to spiral. All that is your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, automatic protection modes that your body uses when it senses threat. So let's break down for the moment the fight. You might feel angry, defensive, or ready to argue. Flight. You want to leave, escape, or shut down the conversation. Freeze. Your mind goes blank. You can't speak or move easily. Fawn. You immediately try to please the other person to keep peace. And I see that as a response that my older sister has learned because she always seems to be the peacemaker. And anyone in the family that is the peacemaker, it's always because they desperately need love and need attention that they didn't get at a time when they truly needed it. None of these are conscious choices. They're instinctive reactions that your body believes will keep you safe. Here's the thing: the amygdala doesn't know the difference between past danger and present discomfort. It doesn't think in words, it reacts to sensations, tone, and emotional ones. So even if you're completely safe now, your body might still send you into high alert because something feels familiar to old pain. And that's why emotional flashbacks can be so disconcerting. You might feel scared or ashamed without understanding why, because your logical mind isn't seeing the danger, only your emotional brain is. But here's the empowering part: once you understand what's happening, you can start calming the alarm. You can gently remind yourself, this reaction makes sense. My body's just trying to protect me, but I'm safe now. That awareness begins to retrain your nervous system, teaching it the most that not every raised voice is uncomfortable moments, which means danger. Over time, that's how you move from automatic reaction to conscious response. And that's where emotional freedom begins. So remember, your body isn't betraying you, it's remembering for you. And with compassion, patience, and awareness, you can teach that the present moment truly is safe. recognizing emotional flashbacks in the moment. So, how can you tell when you're in an emotional flashback? Here are some common signs. You suddenly feel small, powerless, or ashamed. Your emotions escalate quickly and feel out of proportion. You freeze up. You can't think clearly or have trouble speaking. You feel the urge to please others or disappear entirely. When this happens, pause and remind yourself this is a flashback. I'm reacting to the past, not the present. This simple statement helps activate your thinking brain again and signals safely to your nervous system. Then ground yourself in the present moment. Take slow, deep breaths. Feel your feet on the floor. Name 5 things you can see around you. Touch something with texture and really feel it. These grounding tools help pull your awareness back into the now, the one place where healing truly happens. When your body goes into an emotional flashback, your nervous system gets stuck in the past. The goal of grounding is simple: to gently remind yourself through your body and senses that you're safe right now. Grounding techniques bring your attention back to the present, to what you can see, touch, hear, and feel, instead of what your body remembers from the past. Think of them as the anchors that pull you out of the storm and back into the waters. Let's walk through the 5 key grounding rules that can help you regain control when your emotional alarm system goes off. Grounding rule number 1: name what's happening. Don't judge it. When you feel that surge of panic, shame, or fear, start by simply naming it. Say to yourself quietly, this is an emotional flashback. My body is remembering something old, but I'm safe right now. This gentle acknowledgement helps calm the amygdala and reactivates your logical brain. Don't fight the feeling, describe it instead. Naming what's happening turns confusion into understanding, and understanding restores control. Grounding rule number 2: focus on the breath. Your breath is your body's built in reset button. When you're triggered, your breathing often becomes shallow or fast, which tells your body that you're still in danger. Try this. Breathe in slowly through your nose to 4 counts. Hold for 2 counts. Exhale gently through your mouth for 6 counts. Repeat this for about a minute. This extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural calming response. You'll notice that your shoulders drop, your heart rate slows, and your mind starts to clear. Grounding rule number 2: engage the 5 senses. Your senses are powerful anchors to the present moment. When you're caught in a flashback, try the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, 1 thing that you can taste. Say each out loud if you can. For example, I see the window. I feel my feet on the floor. I hear the hum of the fan. I smell my coffee. I taste the mint in my mouth. This memory and sensory exercise tells your brain we're here in this moment, not back there. Grounding rule number 4, use physical anchors. Sometimes grounding is more effective when you add gentle movement or touch. You can place a hand over your heart and feel your heartbeat. Tap your fingertips together or press your palms together. Hold something textured like a smooth stone, a cool drink, or a soft fabric. Stand firmly and feel the floor beneath your feet. Those physical cues remind your body where it is and reestablish a sense of safety. Remember those little stress balls they used to give you if you went to the expo and you would squeeze them? Think of that or get one and use it. Grounding rule number 5, speak to yourself with compassion. This is talking to your inner child. This might be the most powerful rule of all. When you're in an emotional flashback, your inner child is the one feeling scared or unworthy. Offer comfort instead of criticism. Say things like, I know this feeling is strong, but I'm safe right now. I can take care of myself. I don't have to hide or please anyone. I'm okay. Using calm, nurturing language helps to rewire your inner dialogue. Over time, your nervous system learns that when the alarm sounds, you will soothe it, not ignore it or punish it. Grounding isn't about forcing the feeling to go away. It's about creating safety inside your body again. Each time you use these techniques, you're teaching your brain something powerful. The danger has passed. I can stay here. I'm safe in this moment. And that's how healing happens. One grounded breath, one kind word, and one present moment at a time. Healing and moving forward. Healing from emotional flashbacks takes time, but it is absolutely possible. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Or start by tracking your emotional triggers and ask yourself, what happened before I felt this way? Over time, you'll start seeing patterns, and those patterns point you to what still needs healing. Next comes the self compassion. When you're triggered, speak kindly to yourself. You might say, I'm feeling scared right now, and that's okay. I'm safe now. Working with trauma informed therapist or counselor can also help you process those emotional safety and build healthier responses. And don't underestimate the power of supportive relationships. People who make you feel seen and accepted can help rewire your sense of safety. You can also use journaling to record what you feel during flashbacks. It's a powerful way to track triggers, process emotional, and remind yourself that your feelings make sense. Most importantly, remind yourself that healing is not about erasing the past, it's about reclaiming your power in the present. Too often, people believe that healing means forgetting what happened or pretending it never affected them. But true healing doesn't erase your story, it transforms your relationship. When you try to erase your past, you're really trying to erase parts of yourself, the younger you who survived, adapted, and did whatever it took to make it through. That version of you deserves compassion, not shame. Reclaiming your power means learning to say, yes, those things happened. Yes, they shaped me, but they no longer control who I am or how I respond today. It's about recognizing that while you can't change what happened, you can change how you carry it. There is a saying that Carl Jung has. It is not what happened to me, it's what I choose to become. Reclaiming your power means shifting from reaction to response. When emotional flashbacks appear, you no longer have to be swept away by them. You can pause, breathe, and choose how to respond each time. You do that, you take back a little more control from your past. It's like telling your nervous system, I'm not that helpless child anymore. I have tools, I have awareness, and I have choice. That shift from autonomic reaction to conscious response is the process of reclaiming your power. Reclaiming power means owning your story. You stop running from your story and start owning it instead of seeing your past as something broken. You begin to see it as a source of wisdom and resilience. When you say, this happened to me, but it doesn't define me, you become the narrator of your life again, not just the character living in someone else's version of it. Owning your story lets you extract meaning from pain. It helps you turn wounds into wisdom and lessons into leadership. Reclaiming your power means your greatest strength lives in the now. Healing invites you to recommend or reconnect with your body, your emotions, and your choices in the present moment because that's the only place you can truly experience peace. When you practice grounding, journaling, or self reflection, you're retraining your mind to return home to this moment where you are safe and capable. You can't rewrite the past, but you can rewrite your response one decision at a time. Healing doesn't erase who you were, it integrates who you become. It's not about forgetting the pain, but about remembering your strength every time you catch yourself reacting differently, showing compassion to yourself, or standing up for your needs. That's healing in motion. That's you reclaiming your power piece by piece, moment by moment. So the next time you feel triggered or overwhelmed, take a deep breath and remind yourself the past shaped me, but it doesn't define me. And I am safe. I am growing. I am powerful now because healing isn't about escaping your past. It's about coming home to yourself in the present. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember this. Emotional flashbacks aren't proof that you're broken. They're proof that your body remembers what your mind had to forget. They're a sign that your system is asking for care, for safety, for understanding. When you learn to recognize them, to pause and breathe instead of react, you begin to heal that part of you that's still living in the past. So the next time that you feel that wave of emotion come over you, place a hand over your heart and say to yourself, I am safe now. This feeling is old. I can handle this. You'll be amazed at how your nervous system begins to trust you again. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need to hear it. And remember to subscribe to Live Without Limits. Transform your thinking to redesign your life. For more conversations about emotional awareness, mindset, and personal transformation.